Hello. Please be gentle with my house. You can set some things on fire. Some things I would rather you wouldn't see. If you see any merch lying around, please keep that out of the range of fire. That shit is my pride and joy. Hi, welcome. Welcome in, Raiders. We're just reading today. Sorry, YouTube, you're probably a bit confused. We just got raided for no fucking reason. These people are trying to burn my house down. Oh no! It's fine. Take me out with you. What? Anyway, today we're reading Scum Villain again. Smoky Raid. Whoa! Hello, welcome. How do I stream? Hi. Oh, I guess I could do an introduction. Hi, I'm Aries. I'm your, what am I? I'm a cat boy, I guess. A spirit-infused cat boy. Well, we like to read here. This is our weekly reading session. Our scummy Sunday, if you will. Actually, you will. You must. I insist. Oh my god. But yes, we read Scum Villain every Sunday. Until I'm done with this, and until I'm done with the new extras. Anyway, great art. Thank you. I do art. Haha, do. I do art as well. I made my model art, so that's fun. I have tea. If you don't have tea, you should get some. Otherwise, you suck. I'm kidding. I did! Okay, that's how I remember you. I was like, I recognize this name. Why do I? Okay, yeah. Yeah. I did do your subscriber badges. That was a really fun and interesting, I don't know, I felt like an exercise in creativity for those badges. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. No wonder the arson. I should have guessed. But yes. If you're new here, or if you haven't read Scum Villain before, which I assume you probably haven't, these are the extras, which you can stick around for. It is fun. It's still fun without context, you know? It's just a fun time. You can just zone out or whatever. If you're having trouble sleeping, this could be fun. Nice to listen to, except when I kind of ramble about the shit that's going on. But yeah, I would apologize for arson when I enjoy it. Never apologize for doing the things that you enjoy, especially if it causes harm to other people. That was a joke. Don't take that seriously. Okay, we're moving on. We are in part 2 of the airplane extras of chapter 26. If you remember, last time we were just in the comment section of this fuck-ass book. And now we're getting into Shang Qinghua backstory, which is my favorite guy who I kind of made into Daggerheart. I kind of It's fine. Must read remember as long as yeah, fair enough. Go do all the things that you need to do. Much love and enjoy the yaoi. I will enjoy the yaoi. I love this yaoi so much. Okay. But we are in the middle of page 149, and let's get started. Hopefully my reading voice is okay today. What is going on? Okay, part 2. What are you daydreaming about, you moron? Get to work! Great Master Airplane, shooting towards the sky, spat out the green foxtail hanging from his lips with a pa. Internally, he waved 1,000 middle fingers and yelled 1,000 words beginning with F at this fiendish Anding Peak Shishong. But when he turned around, he wore a flowery smile. He plastered on the expression and flounced up to him, calling, "I'm coming!" "All you do is slack off," ex-Shishong spat. The older-than-average outer disciple, Shang Qinghua, who currently occupied a 17-year-old body, looked around in all directions as he trailed behind the main team, who were unloading goods from the ship onto the docks. Indeed, Great Master Airplane could now be referred to as Shang Qinghua. That wretched reprobate from the Stallion novel he had written with his own two hands, that treacherous spy who toiled assiduously for Mobeijun all his life, only to be thrown aside by his cold-hearted and unfeeling boss as soon as he lived out his use. That cannon fodder, that logistics guy, that Shang Qinghua. Although, at this time, he was still an outer disciple who could be pushed around by everyone on Anding Peak. He wasn't yet head disciple, and he hadn't changed his name to join the Qing generation. Anding Peak was, in itself, a very stifling sort of peak. The Peak Lord was like the director of a housekeeping service. What? Of a housekeeping services department. Stifling. Even when leading disciples, he was like an unpaid hourly worker, also stifling. The outer disciples didn't even bear mentioning. They were at the very lowest end of the food chain, the most stifling of the stifling. Everyone had huge reserves of pent-up anger. Those with more seniority bullied those with less. That was simply the routine state of things. Shang Qinghua would occasionally utter a silent curse. Just you wait until I take the position of Peak Lord. Just see if I don't... Literally. However, he swiftly extinguished those flights of vain fancy. Think about it. Taking the position of Peak Lord meant enjoying assistance from the demon realm, which meant acquiring Mobeijun as a boss, which would lead to the end result, getting thrown away by said boss as soon as he'd lived out his use. He wouldn't even get a clean death. It went without saying, not worth it. If Shang Qinghua could have done as he wished, he would have stripped off his sect robes and rolled up his bedding, rushed down Sanchang Mountain, escaped the cultivation world, and fled toward a free life as a poor commoner. If he relied on all the research he had done to write a transmigration stallion novel in his past life, such as how to create soap, glass, and abacus, etc., he believed he could live freely and easily. Ha 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 ha. But, as soon as this sort of thought appeared in his head, rule violation, point deduction. So he transmigrated into his own stallion novel. Why hadn't he been assigned to the protagonist? And, okay, so what if he wasn't the protagonist? What was up with this damn system? It was all that OP's fault. If he hadn't started that fight, Shang Qinghua wouldn't have suffered the brunt of it. And then there was that peerless cucumber. Curse him. May he never get a chance to use that cucumber for the rest of his life. I mean, he doesn't really have to. He's got... His bottom anyway. Hi, Hyper Hurricane. How you doing? Shang Qinghua moved box after box of heavy books from the ship into a flatbed cart. As he hitched up the horse, he continued to endlessly stew over his grudges. Cultivation novels usually hand-waved inconsequential things like how goods were shipped. In the end, Shang Qinghua had only himself to blame. Damn it, why had he written a low fantasy setting where all the hard labor had to be done by hand? He'd only managed to screw himself over. Okay, in fact, what he really wanted to say was, Qingjing Peak really fucking knows how to use people for all they're worth. They were the ones who made all the trouble. If you were helping Xianshu Peak's female immortals and fairy maidens transport cosmetics, hairpins, new clothes, and whatnot, even if it was tiring, at least you felt light on your heart. At least you felt light in your heart. Though it was hard for the body, it was sweet to the soul. Let's give it no. But when you had to act as a porter for Qingjing Peak, what was up with that? Every time they made a purchase, it was hundreds of kilograms of books. Then they would make Anding Peak's people huff and puff their way down the mountain to fetch them, then huff and puff their way back up to the peak. Meanwhile, they'd be living the high life, their butts stuck to their seats and their fingers stuck in their instruments. They'd just sit and wait for the goods to be delivered to their door. To hell with that aloof demeanor. If you have legs, then come down and get your stuff yourself. The other outer disciples were also complaining. It's so obvious these Qingjing Peak disciples look down on our Anding Peak. But time and again, we have to work like beasts of burden for them. Especially that Shen Qingzhou, one person said indignantly. He's way too full of himself. His nose is stuck straight up into the air. So what if that Shuya has a bit of a name for itself? He's far too arrogant. He even dares to provoke Baizhan Peak's head disciple, Lu Qingge. How would he ever care about nameless foot soldiers like us? Given Baizhan Peak's temper, given Lu Qingge's temper, how could he not gotten himself killed yet? How could he? You think Yue Qisheng would just stand by and watch? So long as he's around, Lu Qingge can't kill Shen Qingzhou no matter what. What I don't know is how Shen Qingzhou had got chosen as head disciple after starting What I don't know is how Shen Qingzhou got chosen as head disciple after starting cultivation so late, said another disciple, who'd joined Sangchong Mountain at an older age, his expression sour. They say he had a good relationship with Yue Qisheng, but I've never seen him go to Changding Peak. And even when he does see Yue Qisheng, he keeps up that damn fake expression, all aloof and whatever. But if you said they weren't friendly, that wouldn't seem quite right either. Shang Qinghua kept his silence, choking down his words. How I long to gossip, how I yearn to take up the backstory I outlined but ended up killing in the cradle to toss it in your face. No one's got a clearer sense of those old affairs of years long past than this great master, your omnipotent creator. Shrouded in resentment, the whole party muttered their grievances like a broken record, getting angrier and angrier, their envy and hatred mixing together. But who could say who they were trying to argue with? Shang Qinghua drove the cart, shoulders hunched. Whenever someone addressed him, he brushed them aside with a laugh, being very careful not to add anything. Sure, they were enthusiastically proclaiming their sufferings now, but you never knew when, someday in the future, they'd covertly go and tattle on the very people who'd complained today. Running your mouth was fun in the moment, but once someone reported you and you caught the attention of the other peak's disciples, you'd be in serious hot water. Human hearts were treacherous. You couldn't forget and guard against them. What? You couldn't forget to guard against them. Literally says, Shang Qinghua really has excellent self-control with holding all that. He, as much of as a gossip whore he is, he really does have good self-control with that. The road after rain was full of the road after rain was full of potholes. As the wheels rolled over them, the cart pitched left and right. During one such pitch, the system sent Shang Qinghua a notification with a ding. Upcoming mission, be prepared. When Shang Qinghua heard this, his face creased like a chrysanthemum. He smiled obsequiously. I knew that word. He smiled obsequiously. System Daga, aren't you skimping a bit, being so brief with these messages? Couldn't you tell me what mission this is? What preparations? Prepare for what? At least give me a tip, okay? You will see, the system said vaguely. Shang Qinghua was silent. No, this esteemed one sees nothing. Then, with a crack, the flatbed cart suddenly stopped moving, seemingly stuck on something on the ground. The outer disciple, Shishong, whether on the cart or following along behind, jolted along with it and fell all over the place. They were already steaming with anger, and they summarily began to smack the rails and curse with rage. You moron! Can't even properly drive a cart? Go already! What are you stopping for? Shang Qinghua didn't know why the cart had suddenly gotten stuck either. Puzzled, he jumped off. After a single look, his soul flew off in a fright. Get ready to eat. All around them, a formless cold in the air weighed oppressively down. Winter was cold, but Shang Qinghua's heart was even colder. Shaking uncontrollably, he lifted his gaze. A shadow draped in a black cloak so slowly walked toward them, straight and tall. One could vaguely make out the figure of a youth. For once, the system said a few more words. Current opponent's anger points, 1,000. Mission objective, survive. Tip complete. We wish you the best of luck. His husband is he? Great Master Airplane Shooting Towards the Sky had a bad habit. That was, he cut plot points. Before he officially set pen to paper on future chapters, he would first plan little sprouts in his novel. Then he would watch how the winds were blowing in the comment section. Using this information, he would decide which plot points to follow from his overall outline. He's basically DMing. Just noticing, he's basically DMing. But like log form. Log form DMing. For instance, the Shen Jingzhou, who had been called a cheap villain with no justification 10,000 times, was a tragic product of plot cuts. Oh, and then there was Binga's dad. His plot had been cut even more viciously, to the point that in the end, he hadn't even appeared. The benefit of this method was that he could cater to the readers. It at least guaranteed that his subscription count wouldn't take a huge dive and crash it to its death in the pool at rock bottom. The consequence was that buried foreshadowing went to waste, and there were gaps all over the ground, leaving it bumpy and full of plot holes. That's so stupid! It's okay, it says potholes, but the L is in brackets. I hate this. I hate this fucking book. I'm like, right? Cucumber really was. And clearly his deception as well. Any readers who had some standards or who had a bit more taste and weren't as easy to fool would rain curses on the author without restraint. Airplane Shooting Towards the Sky had often been depressed about it too. The thing was, he actually didn't like repeatedly writing all the crazy revenge stuff either, especially when it was getting revenge on a crowd of villains with IQs lower than a bar on the ground. Once in a while, he wanted to craft a three-dimensional villain, still cannon fodder, but with multiple sides, to show that he had also done some basic research on human nature, that he had some literary standards too. But the readers never bought in, so he couldn't guarantee he'd make a living. So, what did human nature and literary ideals account for against readers and making a living? Ha 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 ha! Back on topic. These extras are so fucking stupid because it's his point of view, and oh my god, the writing is exactly his thoughts, and it's just so. It's so stupid. Back on topic. Precisely because of this bad plot-cutting habit, many of the original particulars of a story had been lost, doomed to suffocate in the womb. For example, when had Mo Beijun captured Shang Qinghua? Naturally, the main text had never brought it up. The main text's plot line was just Binga oozing badassery, slaughtering and massacring people all over the place. Who gave a fuck how that one cannon fodder became a spy? However, this world automatically filled in the parts that had been cut. Therefore, Great Master Airplane had categorically lost the authorial advantage of foreknowledge. Therefore, whenever the plan began to develop, he was always a good few beats late before he caught on to what was going on. X Shishong drew his sword in parentheses, which as an Undine disciple had never had the chance to be unsheathed even after 800 years, and let out a vigorous yell. What sort of evildoer dares to cross us? One after another, the disciples all became agitated, and they subsequently unsheathed their swords as well. You dare to appear in front of Sangchong Mountain Sect disciples? Mobei-jun was clearly in an extraordinarily bad mood. He didn't even let the cannon fodder finish their traditional opening monologues before his knuckles cracked. A storm of icy arrows swept through the air, and heads slammed to the ground, one by one. One side of Shang Qinghua's mind shrieked while the other howled, so scary, but also so cool, really fucking cool. But regardless of whether he was cool enough to shake the heavens and earth, and to make devils and deities cry, if that guy was destined to kill Shang Qinghua in the future, he was absolutely not friend material. He's a bit more than friend material. Am I right? Suddenly, Ex-Shishong shoved his shoulder. Get down there! Shang Qinghua felt like his heart was being fried in oil and roasted over a fire, but his mind was wholly sober. He stuck his hands and feet into the cart as securely as chewing gum. Get down and do what? Defeat the demon and defend the righteous way. Execute the will of the heavens. Why don't you go first? Thought Shang Qinghua. After all, well, no, he doesn't say that. After you, Shishong. Ex-Shishong flew into a rage. I told you to go, so go. What's with your nonsense? More hands and feet joined Ex-Shishong in kicking and prying Shang Qinghua off. Obviously, he understood what was going on. These outer disciples just wanted him to stall Mobei-jun to give them time to escape. His mind was as clear as a mirror, and his current stance couldn't have been any more fixed. Shang Qinghua clung firmly to the base of his base of operations and refused to be moved. Shishong, I don't wanna, he sobbed. Our comrades will remember how you made me go be cannon fodder at a time like this. Ex-Shishong began to ramble incoherently in terror. What cannon fodder? If you can defeat this monster, if you can defeat this monster of the demon race, you'll definitely earn great merit. You'll soar like the divine steed, Fei Huang. This is the only way for us outer disciples. The opportunity is right in front of your eyes at this very moment. Shang Qinghua couldn't hold onto the cart much longer. He whimpered like his organs were being ripped apart. I'm going then. I'm really going. Just as he finished speaking, he was firmly pried out of the cart and thrown to the ground, his body fallen right in front of Mobei-jun's boots. His sword still halfway in its sheath, his heart not quite decided as to whether he should draw his sword. Mobei-jun sneered, an ice-cold glint of blue flashing through his eyes. No sooner said than done. Shang Qinghua threw himself forward to cling to his thighs with a plop. I like jewelry. Lucky you, I have the illustrations, and it'll just take me a moment to bring them up, because I am silly and never do this ahead of time. If I can find my Scum Villain folder. If I can do the things. If I can do it. Save as Pung. Yes. Yes, quite. I loved him so much. Holy shit, adorable leg jewelry indeed. Oh man, they're so cute. This is their first meeting. I love them. I don't think I would just whimper with my organs being torn apart. You never know. Maybe you don't have energy to cry. Anyway. I love him. I love him so much. Oh man, okay. We're gonna continue reading, alright? Alright, if that's okay with everyone, we're gonna continue reading with them on the screen. God! Every one of his shishong made an aggrieved face. Mo Wei-jun made a blank one. Shang Qinghua fell to one knee. My king, please let me follow you for the rest of your for the rest of my life. Mo Wei-jun tried to throw Shang Qinghua off with a kick, but to no avail. His adhesive ability was just too strong. Mo Wei-jun then tried to kill him and be done with it, but that proved even more difficult. Just like a gecko clinging to a wall, Shang Qinghua nimbly crawled back and forth but managed to stay stuck firmly to his thighs. Yeah, he's a gecko. I kind of want to draw that. Oh my god. Mo Wei-jun couldn't help but steam with rage. As the Anding Peak outer disciples bore witness to this incredible feat, they were overjoyed. They threw down their goods and fled. Just as Shang Qinghua was silently cursing them out, not 3 seconds later, a wave of screams came from down the road. Dozens of ice strands as thin as silk threads had pierced their chests. In a mad dance of silver light, droplets of blood flew in all directions. Ooh, in a mad dance of silver light. Upon seeing this, Shang Qinghua's grip on Mo Beijun's thighs became as strong as steel. He started to chatter incessantly. My king, please accept me. I'm very useful. Mo Beijun seemed to cant his body. Oh, what use are you? I can serve tea, carry water, wash clothes, fold blankets. Wait, no. Shang Qinghua considerately gave him an analysis. You see, my king, I can serve you as an undercover agent in Sancheng Mountain, pass on intelligence and help the demon race accomplish the magnificent feat of conquering the human realm. Mo Beijun laughed. An outer disciple, and an Anding Peak outer disciple at that. With you as a spy, how long would it take to accomplish this feat? Don't discriminate against my peak, Shang Qinghua said awkwardly. That isn't very nice. That is so convincing, my guy. You're so convincing. He's just like me, for real, for real. Oh my god. Why does even the demon race look down on us? And the disdain for Anding Peak even surpasses that of an outer disciple. That's too much. That's really too much. As Shang Qinghua overflowed with snot and tears, clinging on for dear life, begging to pledge fealty to Mo Beijun, wholly without warning, the demon collapsed. He collapsed. Bam. It's gone now. Shang Qinghua was still hugging his thighs when Mo Beijun fell. He was almost squashed right under him. He hurriedly let go. He crouched there for a while in a daze until he suddenly came to his senses. Had Mo Beijun come here already injured? No wonder his expression had been so ugly and his temper so high. No wonder he had been so easy to push over. Had Shang Qinghua accidentally poked one of his wounds when when his hand slipped? Sometimes a slip of the hand is advantageous. You had fealty, correct the fealty. Okay, thank you. He's Rismi, just please, he really is. Please. Shang Qinghua cautiously moved over to examine him carefully. Just as expected, there was a thin wound the length of a finger on the back of Mo Beijun's lower waist, roughly over his right kidney. A sharp corner of something gold protruding from inside the wound. He could vaguely make out that it was the petal-shaped edge of an intricate piece of handicraft that had been forged from gold threads. So coquettish and cultured. It was Huanhua Palace's Ling Hua dart, all right. This weapon was one of the nonsense details Great Master Airplane had cooked up on the fly while writing. Oy. The body of the dart was light and thin and coated with a bit of anesthetic, so it was very difficult for its targets to discover the object once it breached their body. If they moved too much, the dart would magnificently blossom, growing 6 sharp flower petals to slice up the victim's internal organs. Does this perhaps sound a bit familiar? Does this device overlap with a certain demon realm organization? No problem. It's easy enough to justify. Just explain it away by saying this Linghua dart was created by some Huanhua Palace senior who'd escaped from the demon realm by the skin of their teeth. Then base this design on a strange organism called ties that bind. In short, don't make a fuss over this sort of tiny detail. Not him putting in disclaimers. Oh my god. Background narration complete. Let's jerk ourselves back over to the main topic. You must be wondering how I got here. That is to say, this pure-blooded demonic second gen who, in the future, would very likely beat Shang Qinghua to death with a single strike. Not only had his kidney been punctured through by Huanhua Palace, but was also severely anesthetized. How the fuck do you say that word? I know what it means, but what? I'm literate. It seemed like Mobei-jun had just killed his way out of Huanhua Palace, of a Huanhua Palace ambush. Anesthetized? That somehow does not help. I might be more confused. Anyway, the demon race held their grudges for a long time, and the Mobei clan had held a long-standing animosity toward Huanhua Palace. The sect would suffer the greatest number of deaths and injuries at the ill-fated Immortal Alliance conference precisely because Mobei-jun wished to retaliate against them. This event had connected seamlessly with airplanes shooting towards the sky's master plan. Shang Qinghua muttered to himself back and forth, a mischievous cast to his face. He looked around on the ground for a while before finding a stone about half the size of a skull and hefted it up. It was quite heavy. 1, 2, 3. He got in position above Mobei-jun's head, the demon's eyes still closed. The system offered neither warning hints nor prohibiting alerts. Shang Qinghua relaxed. There was no warning, which meant, in other words, go ahead and kill him. My king. My king. This is the will of the heavens. Don't blame me. With thoroughly insincere prayer, Shang Qinghua's hand rose, and the stone fell, and braked to a halt, right above the tip of Mobei-jun's arguably perfect nose. Arguably. To tell the truth, this Mobei-jun character held an unusual significance to him. It could have been said that Mobei-jun was the type of man Great Master Airplane had always dreamed of becoming. Strong, cool, doing as he pleased, just like how every little kid had dreamed of becoming Ultraman. How could he just stand by and watch himself kill Ultraman with his own hands? Shang Qinghua bemoaned his dilemma for a while. After he finished, he had a perfectly shameless thought. It would be fine if he just didn't watch, right? So he turned his head and raised the stone up high. Nope, he still couldn't do it. Shang Qinghua chucked aside the cumbersome murder weapon with a plop. His eyes shone with excitement, and by now he was almost completely on top of Mobei-jun. It's the only time he's going to be on top of him. I can't. The more I look, the more I feel this face is just too damn mesmerizing. In truth, deep down, Binga's fair and clean pretty boy type didn't really suit the tastes of Great Master Airplane flying towards the sky. He had only assigned this sort of configuration to the protagonist to meet his stallion hardware specifications. The art of growing stallions was grounded in science, and the research was clear. Women preferred men who looked cultured, pretty, and even a bit soft and feminine. Protagonists couldn't avoid getting roasted. It was fair to say that Binga had a fan every 3 steps and a hater every 5. But Mobae-jun wasn't the same. Supporting characters inevitably attracted a lot of love, and Mobae-jun had practically never been hated on. Agreed. This character had been created entirely according to the author's own tastes, and because Mobae-jun was secretly favored by that author, he had embodied airplane shooting towards the skies scholarly aesthetic for the ideal fellow man. Don't ask why Lo Binka wasn't the embodiment of his ideal man. Lo Binka's use had primarily been to fulfill his desire to be a badass and get revenge, as well as his desire for a woman. What? That's not what the fuck it says. I just completely made that up. As well for his desire for wanton. This section has been censored. You know what? I don't blame myself for coming to that conclusion. But also, we're talking about airplane here, so maybe not. Even this young Mobae-jun, who hadn't yet grown into himself, was unconditionally in line with the 16 words that describe the author's true aesthetics. Eyes deep as nose. What? That's not. God, I can read. Eyes. Eyes deep as night. Nose straight and high. Full of heroic spirit. Icily arrogant beyond compare. Shut up. Am I? Hang on. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine on both ends? We're fine on both ends. I'm fine. We're fine. This was the beautiful man of his dreams. The stony murder weapon rose and lowered and rose. Are we fine? For the first time in his transmigrated life, Shang Qinghua was faced with a difficult life choice. Am I fine? My bitrate tanked, but I think it's okay. I think we're okay. The difficult life choice. Finally, he decided. Time to get a room. Okay, thank you, Apple. He would go to an inn to get a room. No, to find somewhere to stay. At present, though, he was in a field of dead bodies. Shang Qinghua hesitated a bit, then tipped that load of Qingjing Peak's heavy, useless nuisance. That's a hard words to say okay. Right off the cart, the way he'd take out the trash. He hauled Mobae-jun onto it, face down, so as to conceal the face that made him lose control every time he looked at it. Just suffocate instead, I guess. For the time being, he couldn't return to Sangchong Mountain. No one there would realize anything was amiss too quickly. This trip was supposed to last 7 days, and only 2 had passed. I'm right. To stand steadfast by this demonic young heir and protect him while he had been weakened by a sneak attack, what a wonderful opportunity to garner some goodwill. While comforting himself with this justification, Shang Qinghua huffed and puffed as he pushed that large flatbed cart toward the city. To rent the room, Shang Qinghua spent the secret stash he had been saving these last few years. At this point, he was only an average run-of-the-mill outer disciple, and he didn't have the authority to manage accounts or draw from the sect coffers. Okay. Renting a room already stretched the limits of his economic ability, so as a matter of course, it was a single room. So as a matter of course, there was only one bed. Who this bed belonged to was also a matter of course. Of course it was for himself. For a while, Shang Qinghua sprawled out on the bed like a dead starfish. After he had finished stretching out his muscles and bones, he crawled up and hauled Mobae-jun onto it. This was necessary. Mobae-jun was already in a bad mood and quite the temper, and quite the temper. Was already in a bad mood and quite the temper after being injured. Interesting. If he awoke to find himself lying on the ground or scrunched into a chair, could Shang Qinghua expect to keep his life? There was no questioning that. Well, there was no question that Mo Beijun would stop to consider the truth of the situation before rewarding him with an icicle through the chest. They had just passed by a medicine stand, and Shang Qinghua had bought a bit of such and such ointment. Although given demons' usually strong vitality, he could probably just toss him in the corner and ignore him, and no matter how large a hole had been poked into him, it would gradually close. However, since Shang Qinghua had decided to cling to those thighs, he knew that he had to discard all reservations and display his sincerity. As a self-proclaimed frank and honest reprobate, Great Master Airplane Shooting Towards the Sky looked down on hypocrites who kept up the aloof poser facade despite clearly wanting to cling to people's thighs. Who could he be talking about? not the what's it called? Oh, I forgot. Oh, the subtweet. He just subtweeted Cucumber Bro. Ah. I'm fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. He boldly scooped up a large lump of ointment and shoved it into the hole above Mo Beijun's kidney until it was more or less closed, then flipped him over, arranging his hands' palms together in a Sleeping Beauty pose. After spending some time admiring this perfect face, which he had modeled after his mind's eye ideal, he pillowed his head on his arms and fell asleep on the outer edge of the bed. The summer night was stiflingly hot. Even with the window open, not a wisp of cool breeze flowed in. After tossing and turning for half the night, Shang Qinghua had finally managed to doze off when something suddenly shoved him to the ground with a kick to the rear. Shang Qinghua was nearly scared to death. Scrambling, he fled beneath the table and turned his head in a panic. Mo Beijun sat straight up on the bed, eyes shining with blue light, like an overcharged battery about to explode. Shang Qinghua had thought up his lines long ago. He beat his chest and stomped his feet, saying with a deep expression, "My king, you're finally awake." Mo Beijun was unmoved, looking at him coldly. "Do you remember who I am?" Mo Beijun didn't respond. Shang Qinghua felt not a bit of embarrassment. Delightedly entertaining the possibility of amnesia, he barreled onward. "We met on a little road just a moment ago. I said I would follow you for the rest of my life, my king, as close as—" Mo Beijun cut him off. "Why were you hugging me just now?" "As a little padded jacket," Shang Qinghua started. "What did you say? I did what just now?" "You were hugging me." It's just classic. It's just classic only one bed shenanigans. It's so perfect. A sudden realization. Thunder from a clear sky. Sleeping in this damn heat was like being baked in a furnace, and Mo Beijun's body temperature temperature just happened to be cold. In a muddled state of sleep, Shang Qinghua had subconsciously moved toward the colder side of the bed, and the closer he got, the cooler and more comfortable he'd become. No wonder he had dreamed of a giant popsicle around which he happily wrapped his 4 limbs like an octopus. As he licked and cried happy tears. Was he licking? Oh boy. Shang Qinghua carefully peeked at Mo Beijun's face and neck. Just answer my question. Seeing no unusual shine of moisture upon them, he couldn't resist letting out a thankful prayer. "Your body was ice cold," he said cautiously. "I was afraid you weren't going to make it, so I was holding you." At this, Mo Beijun scoffed. "Fool, this is my natural state. The colder my body is, the better my condition. I'm not human. for whom cold means the onset of death. Shang Qinghua carefully measured Mo Beijun's every word and expression. Seeing him relax a bit, a smile soon spread across his face. Just when he was about to slither out from under the table like a snake crawling up to stick... What? Like a snake crawling up the stick used to strike it. Mo Beijun suddenly recovered his ice-cold demeanor. Go on, try moving another inch. Shang Qinghua was instantly scared stiff. He pathetically clung to the table leg, curled into a ball under the table like a hamster. Hammy. Hamhua. Oh, I love you, Hamhua. What do you want? Asked Mo Beijun. I don't really want anything, Shang Qinghua said shamelessly. I just want to follow you for the rest of my life. Mo Beijun acted as if he hadn't heard. You're an on-ding-peaked outer disciple. Shang Qinghua kept feeling that whenever anyone stressed the words on-ding peak, they carried an undertone of prejudice. For fear that Mo Beijun would deem him useless and do away with him forthwith, he stuck out his head. My king, listen to me. I'm young, so I have opportunities to rise in status. Get back. Shang Qinghua hurriedly retreated to safety. Sorry, I just love them. Satisfied with this distance, Mo Beijun said, The assistance you lent me, was it for opportunities to rise in status? As proud and arrogant as expected, he hadn't used save, a verb that would have implied being the weaker party in this situation, but rather assist, which implied it had been merely support. Shang Qinghua chuckled, playing dumb. If he said no, the credibility rating of his response would be less than 3%, but if he said yes, Mo Beijun rather looked down upon such spineless reprobates. This was the reason Mo Beijun hadn't thought twice about killing the original flavor, Shang Qinghua, because he never planned on letting him live in the first place. How could Shang Qinghua shamelessly admit that he had done it just to grind friendship XP? Fortunately, Mo Beijun had already come to a conclusion, and he slapped the label of greedy for life, afraid of death, slippery bootlicker, sect sellout, right onto Shang Qinghua. He didn't need him to respond before letting out a cold snort as he lay down once more. Shang Qinghua waited for a long time, not moving another step. Had he received a consensus for the time being, or had Mo Beijun fainted again? In the end, Shang Qinghua didn't dare to rashly approach and remained crouched under the table, making do for the rest of the night. After struggling with himself for half of the night, as soon as he woke the next morning, Shang Qinghua officially began a busy day of being ordered left and right. By noon, Shang Qinghua had worked hard without complaint, running up and down the stairs more than 20 times and changing the water in the bathtub. In the bathtub, 7 or 8. That's a weird sentence. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird sentence? Running up and down the stairs more than 20 times and changing the water in the bathtub 7 or... Oh, okay, never mind. It makes sense. This water was to help Mo Beijun heal his wounds. Soaking in water was the best option for this ice-powered great lord, after all. But a perfectly good tub of warm water didn't last an hour before he turned it into icy slush. Shang Qinghua huddled in the corner, chewing on some rations he had with him while watching Mo Beijun undress, nursing both extreme envy toward and extreme admiration for the figure and abs he had longed for in his dreams. Do you want to be him or do you want to fuck him? Like, this... Oh, I love it. As he watched, he suddenly realized Mo Beijun had stopped undressing and was staring at him, an unhappy look on his face. We should heart rate monitor on one of these trains. That'd be so silly. Oh my god. Shang Qinghua chewed a couple of times, hurriedly swallowing a few extra bites, just in case Mo Beijun suddenly demanded he hand over his rations. You're very fishy, Mo Beijun said. Not fishy, Shang Qinghua said hurriedly. This one is sweet. He didn't have the chance to eat more than a couple of bites before a few strips of black shadow hit him full in the face. This one is sweet. It's crazy. That. Good on you. Good on you, Shang Qinghua. What a fucking weirdo. So Shang Qinghua couldn't stand around officially anymore, as he had to go wash his newly claimed master's clothes. Indeed, this young demonic heir had only brought one change of clothes, and now it was full of holes and blood and sweat. How could he wear them any longer? Obviously, they had to be sewn and mended and washed and dried. Low fantasy Shanxia worlds doggedly... What? Yeah. Low fantasy Shanxia worlds wait, I'm so confused. Adhere to these kinds of unromantic, dismal, and disgusting principles of realism. Doggedly? It just says G's. I'm gonna continue. Shang Qinghua swore that if he ever had the opportunity to change back to Great Master airplane shooting towards the sky, his next book would be high fantasy Xuanhuan of the sort where wild plot bunnies ran rampant and science was fed to the dogs. Characters would weave clouds into garments and trim the moon into a belt, and all manual labor would be resolved with a twitch of a pinky finger. There would never again be a need for dismal existences like those of On Ding Peak disciples. Doggedly. Okay. Shang Qinghua considerately patched the hole in Mo Beijun's clothes that had once covered his kidney, wrung them dry, and hung them up in the room. He felt he had made a very good show of himself that day, so that night, with all the confidence of the ignorant, he thickened his face and crawled toward the bed. But before he got close, history repeated itself, and he was again kicked off. He sat on the ground, tears in his eyes and voice trembling. My king, you won't let me on the bed. What if during the night you get cold, thirsty, hungry, or want to turn over? What then? Mo Beijun lifted an eyebrow. Easily seen to. So, he ordered Shang Qinghua to find a length of cord. One end was tied to his finger, while the other was tied to Shang Qinghua's finger? In your dreams, it was tied to his neck, nothing more. Can I just say? One time when my grandma, when my homily was sick or something, or like had a bad back or something, she got into an accident, and then and then she needed to rely on my harabaji, my grandfather, to like get her stuff, and you know, she just needed to rely on him for things. But he's kind of deaf. His hearing's not good, so she would call for him, and then he would have his headphones on his computer. And anyway, she ended up tying a string to him and tucked it whenever she needed help. That just you know, it just really makes me ship them more, you know, these two. Okay. I am warm. Sorry, I'm very warm, and I have this blanket because I thought I was gonna be cold, but I'm having like hot flashes. Get off! Okay, we're fine. Where are we? 170. Yes. Shang Qinghua lay on the ground like a corpse. The fuck? He thought to himself. Dogs have it better than I do. The only comforting thought he could scrounge up was that at least Mo Beijun wasn't some sort of pervert. The other end of the cord could have been tied to his beep. That treatment would have been truly inhumane. Shang Qinghua spent only 4 days suffering such hardship, but he honestly felt the days dragging by like years. Even his nights were an unceasing nightmare. On the final day, in the middle of the night, Shang Qinghua was sound asleep as he once again dreamed. This time he dreamed he was still in the real world, crying and weeping at a computer screen. Beside him was a fiendishly large man holding a thorny cucumber shaped like a rather hairy lower leg. He was fiercely thrashing airplane shooting towards the sky's face. As he thrashed, he roared, "Everything you write is unhinged trash!" Okay, have a good day. I forgot about this completely. This was completely wiped from my mind. Airplane shooting. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so uncomfortable. Hang on. Airplane shooting towards the sky, dodged the cucumber like his life depended on it as he strove to explain himself. It's been so long since I've updated. Cucumber bro, please don't be like this. Then hurry and update. With this, Peerless Cucumber tied a corded loop around his neck. Submerged in great suffering, Shang Qinghua fought to wake up, only to find the cord still tightening around his neck. Following it with his gaze, he found Mo Beijun lying on the bed, mechanically pulling on the cord tied to his hand. My king, what do you require? Shang Qinghua asked lifelessly. Only after asking a couple more times did he discover that Mo Beijun wasn't tormenting him on purpose. He was profoundly passed out and was merely tossing and turning in extreme discomfort while occasionally yanking on the thing in his hand to try to find relief. As the unfortunate soul around whose neck the other end of the cord was tied to, Shang Qinghua's eyeballs were nearly squeezed out of his head under the force of the pulls. Mo Beijun creased his brow, restlessly flipping back and forth. Shang Qinghua quietly tiptoed to his bedside when he saw the shallow beads of sweat seeping from Mo Beijun's smooth forehead and felt the faint heat radiating from his clothes. He understood. I have an ad break going on right now, so we're gonna pause here for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But that's happening right now. There's really no good place to break in this, in these couple of pages. There really isn't, so we're just gonna chill off for 2 minutes. What could it be? Oh no! And stretch and hydrate. Alright, stretch with me, everyone. Woohoo! Can we pretend like airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now. How about that? I wonder what kind of ads are on. Thanks for the resub, by the way. Appreciate that. So how's your day going? How you doing so far? Better? Nice. Better than what? Better than mine? Damn. This guy's competitive. I cleaned my bathroom. Not the whole thing. I cleaned my shower. Yay. it was growing mold. So I had to clean it. Nice. I love chores. I love keeping myself safe from mold. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult? Why is mold the thing that it is? I'm getting my first caffeine fix at night because the groceries are late. Whoa. Whoa. How can you even sleep after? Okay, you know what? I gotta understand. I gotta just accept the fact that I'm broken and I can't. Only I and like other people who are broken in the same way can't have caffeine after fucking 10 a.m. So, anyway, ads are over. Woohoo! Oh wow. Okay. My knees. My knees. I'm ADHD, so it'll make it work. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Alright. Alright. Where are we? Yes. We are on page 171. He understood. The wound on Mobei-jun's back looked just like a little cut. Not anything alarming, but in truth, the situation was a bit serious. It was just that he was stubbornly trying to ride it out and had refused to admit it. In addition, it went without saying that the ice demons hated hot weather more than anything. It was the height of summer, and the wound was possibly becoming something similar to inflamed or even beginning to fester. His kidney was healing so slowly. Did he need some sort of medicine to strengthen it a bit? The Mobei clan needed the cold. If they didn't have cold temperatures, they just had to make their own. Shang Qinghua muttered his sleeping posture is really so fucking bad, then accepted his fate and went out. Unhindered by the annoyance he earned for knocking on doors in the middle of the night, he asked for 2 leaf fans, a basin of water, and 2 clean towels. He returned to wipe Mobei-jun down, then placed a wet towel on his forehead, taking up 1 leaf fan with his left hand and the other in his right. He fanned like his life depended on it. Guys, we have another illustration. We have another illustration because we're spoiled rotten. We are so spoiled. Save Ash. I probably should have done this earlier. No! Don't print! Sorry. I'm going through it right now. Ah! Why is my mouse being so weird? Don't be like this. There he is. There's my guy. There he is. There's my guys. It's plural. My plural guys. Oh my god, I love them. Oh, I love them. He fanned and yawned incessantly, fanning until his eyes were bleary. Half dreaming and half awake, he seemed to see Mobei-jun's eyes open. Icy blue pupils were bright and cold under the moonlight, like a pair of magnificent and eerie... Should I even try to say that word? Chrysobarrels. Why do I even try? This scene was profoundly frightening. Shang Qinghua shuddered and opened his eyes wide to take a better look, but Mobei-jun's were clearly shut tight. Once Shang Qinghua awakened, he realized there was a major problem. During the night, he had become dizzy from the heat. As he waved those leaf fans, he managed to topple over on the bed and fallen asleep. Too close. Too close. Thankfully, Mobei-jun was still half asleep. What, not half asleep? Was still asleep. If he'd woken, he might well have kicked Shang Qinghua's brains clear out of his head. Shang Qinghua hurriedly jumped off the bed and lay down in the corner of territory as he claimed for himself on the floor by the headboard. After a while, the bed frame began to creak lightly, and Mo Beijun finally sat up. Shang Qinghua hissed to himself that had been too close. If he had woken up even a bit later, he'd have been turned into a blood splatter on the spot. The next day, having obtained King Mobei's gracious permission, Shang Qinghua was finally able to see the light again, and he went out on the street for a stroll. Well, actually, he had clung to Mo Beijun's thighs and wailed, "My king, I'm out of rations. My cultivation level isn't so high that I can eat when I want and abstain when I don't, like you can. If you don't let me go out to buy food, I'll starve to death, and my corpse will stink up your room." He bought a bowl of thin congee to drink from a shop on a street corner. The congee was clear as water. When he looked down and glimpsed his own reflection, he beheld a chrysanthemum battered by the rain and trampled. He beheld a chrysanthemum battered by the rain, a trampled Mayan, wan and sallow. Those are words I say often. Just as Shang Qinghua was wallowing in his wretched misery, he suddenly heard someone call him Chidi from behind. He turned to see some 5 young men exuding immortal auras, their sleeves and hems fluttering in the breeze as they shouldered longswords and walked solemnly toward him. Comrades! His comrades from Sangchong Mountain Sect! Right, 7 days had passed, and so they organized a group to come find him. Particularly you, baby. Of course. Shang Qinghua was moved to tears. Reaching out a trembling hand, he called, "Shishang! Wei Shishang!" A reserved smile graced the face of the leading youth. 2 swords hung at his waist, one long, one short, and his sleeves billowed as if filled with a cold breeze. It was Wan Jian Peak's Wei Qingwei. When he saw Shang Qinghua rush out to greet him, he raised a hand to meet him, moved. "Ex-Chidi, what happened to you? How have you so completely transformed as to reach such a state in the few days since we last met? You don't even look human." That was really bad. Okay, hang on, let me do that. "You don't even look human." That's better. Just why did I emphasize it that way? Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Shang Qinghua choked down a wave of hot tears, then awkwardly said, "That's probably because I'm not ex-Shishang." Sure, he had become a bit skinnier because he wasn't eating well, but what was with that "don't even look human" remark? Moreover, Shang Qinghua had been to Wan Jian Peak's sword trials terrace at least 3 times to polish swords for Wei Shishang and his buddies, and every time they'd wanted him to sweep their rooms while he was at it, and make them food, and to also feed their pangolins. How could they have already forgotten his face? "Can't you see I'm making a joke?" Wei Qingwei asked. "What is it?" Bro, what the fuck? "What, is it not funny? Oh right, Shang-Chidi, why are you all alone? Where are the others? Why did you delay your return? Did something happen?" Wei Shishang, you really need to work on your jokes. As for the others... This attack had been too sudden, and Shang Qinghua couldn't make up a seamless alibi on such short notice, so he just swayed a couple of times, his face deathly pale, then fell to the ground with a plop. As he looked like he couldn't hold up much longer, no one would be suspicious if he pretended to faint. While he was playing dead, he felt Wei Qingwei crouch down and poke his face a couple of times. The others said, "Shishang, he fainted. What should we do?" "What else can we do?" Wei Qingwei asked, still poking. "Let's drag him back first and figure it out after." At Chongding Peak, rows and rows of dead bodies were arranged outside the main hall. Other than Shang Qinghua, every Anding Peak outer disciple who had been sent to retrieve goods that day lay in repose, down to the last. Shang Qinghua knelt in front of the bodies, tears falling to the ground. There was no way around it. It was hard to get by in this cultivation world. Someone like him, with mediocre innate ability, really couldn't make it without well-developed tear glands. If he hadn't had those, he wouldn't be able to put up this act of a sorrow and heartbroken. What? A sorrow so heartbroken it stilled the tongue in front of the Peak Lords. After the Peak Lords finished questioning him, they went into the hall to discuss, the atmosphere serious and solemn. Shang Qinghua suddenly heard the tinkling of sword tassel pendants, and a youth wearing Qingjing Peak's uniform slowly approached him. This youth had snowy, fair skin, slender brows and eyes, pale lips, and a somewhat harsh appearance. His black hair was neatly tied behind his head with a light green ribbon, and a sword was held in his arms. It was precisely that inauspicious star, that heartless ghoul, that certain, eccentric fellow from Qingjing Peak. Proud immortal demon ways, scum villain, par excellence of the next generation, Shen Qingqiu. Once Shen Qingqiu finished examining the bodies, he asked carelessly, "Did the demon ask you to bring back some message, or perhaps some object?" Shang Qinghua started, shocked that Shen Qingqiu had actually chosen to grace him with unsolicited words. "No?" Shen Qingqiu had a habit of raising his chin, so he was often looking down his nose at others. Every time they spoke, Shang Qinghua felt like Shen Qingqiu was sneering at him. Granted, the sneering didn't really matter. He was pretty used to it. "And that's strange," Shen Qingqiu said, his expression like a smile, yet not. "All the others died. If you don't have some message to bring us, why would you, of all people, be the only survivor?" Shang Qinghua blinked his eyes, tears once again streaming down his face. That is... This time, Shen Qingqiu smiled for real. "Shang Shidi, exactly how did you escape unscathed to return to Sangchong Mountain?" Shang Qinghua absolutely could not afford to give a careless response to this question. The Shen Qingqiu of this world functioned in accordance with his original settings. He wasn't like those low IQ, paper-thin cannon fodder villains, and he was under no circumstances easy to deceive. If Shang Qinghua blew his cover and got reported, his clandestine second career would be over before it even began. So he played dumb and laughed awkwardly for 30 seconds. Suddenly, the light bulb in his head lit up and he instantly began to stammer. "That is, it might be because he hadn't for a second hesitated to kneel, because he'd yelled, 'My king,' with volume and sincerity, because he'd brazenly abandoned all dignity." Shen Qingqiu waited patiently and, for his trouble, received a fit of gut-wrenching coughs from his target. Shang Qinghua coughed until tears poured from his eyes. Shen Qingqiu backed up a step, a shade of disgust on his face. "Everyone has a weakness. Just you see who I'll summon to deal with you." Sure enough, after 5 seconds of this, Ye Qingyuan's voice came from behind them. Oh boy. Qingqiu Shidi. In the first place, the behavior of the demon race has no logic to speak of, and moreover, Shang Shidi only just managed to escape a terrible catastrophe. Even if there are questions to ask, why not wait until he recovers a bit? And he appears! The god-tier summon, Do-Gooder, and future sect leader Ye Qingyuan enters the battlefield. Shang Qinghua silently began to count. Shen Qingqiu raised his hand. Fine. Since you find my words so unpleasant to hear, I won't say any more of them. Yureshishang, as you please. 1 hit. Arshidi from... who is this? Okay. Our Shiri from Anding Peak descended the mountain to help handle affairs for Qingjing Peak. Why must Shiri be so reluctant to grant him even a bit of sympathy? Asked Ye Qingyuan. Shang Shiri, why is your coughing growing worse? Do you need me to call Qian Sao Peak? Qian Sao Peak's Mu Shiri to take a look at you? 2 hits. Shang Shiri. What? No, what? Shang Qinghua shook his head at Ye Qingyuan, shedding tears of gratitude. He continued to count. Shen Qingzhou sneered. The 12 peaks all oversee their own duties, and each has their own expertise. Anding Peak is supposed to do this sort of thing in the first place. Why must Yue Shishang speak like they've been wronged in some way? As if Anding Peak is the only one with things to do in Sangchong Mountain. Besides, don't tell me Shishang believes they really do work hard without complaint. You think they don't curse us out behind our backs every day? 3 hits. Ye Qingyuan's expression was unerringly patient from beginning to end. He was just about to respond when Shen Qingzhou cut him off. Stop. Thank you for your instruction, Yue Shishang. Qingzhou will continue to listen in the future. I'm going. 4 hits. Combo. Shang Qinghua knew in his bones that if these two struck up a conversation, they would inevitably part on bad terms by the 5th exchange. After Shen Qingzhou walked away carrying Xu Ya, Ye Qingyuan finally turned around. Shang Shiri, you've suffered a scare. No, Shang Qinghua said hurriedly. Compared to the exhaustion and exploitation he'd suffered these past few days, a little scare was nothing at all. But all things had a silver lining. After this incident, perhaps because the old Anding Peak Lord wanted to console Shang Qinghua, or whatever, he was promoted to an official inner disciple. Shang Qinghua sang happily the whole way, returning to the large common dormitory to pack up his things before arriving at Anding Peak's highest level dormitory, the leisure house, to report for duty. I need to drink tea. That's right. You didn't hear that. Well, not hear. Well, I mean, I guess you did hear. You didn't read that wrong. On Anding Peak, the disciples who ran around here and there all their lives like exploited servant girls lived in a dormitory called the Leisure House. Leisure, my ass, Great Master Airplane shooting towards the sky, swore he hadn't come up with this name with any satirical intent. But nowadays, every time he saw those words, he was overcome by an incredible malice for this world. Malice of this world. Shang Qinghua found his own small room. Exhausted in both body and soul, he persevered and laid out his bedding, then turned around to pour himself a cup of water. But as soon as he turned back, there was another person lying on his bed. In an utter cliché, the new teacup he had just received from the steward's office dropped from his hands right onto his foot. His legs softened, nearly sending him falling onto his rear. My king. Mo Beijun turned to face him. He was expressionless, but his voice was cold as ice. You'll follow me for the rest of your life, huh? Shang Qinghua was going to cry in fear. Mo Beijun had even followed him back here. He'd never thought... No. Strictly speaking, it wasn't like he never thought about it. After all, Mo Beijun had a special ability, mysterious phantom, come and go like a shadow. Shang Qinghua had thought it up in the first place so Mo Beijun could help Bing Ge slaughter and pillage, and so he could move under the cover of darkness anywhere and at any time. Shang Qinghua proceeded to babble non-stop. My king, allow me to explain. That day, as soon as I went outside, I just wanted to drink some congee and come back. But who could have known that fate was messing with me? I ran into a familiar Shishang. I was afraid he'd asked too many questions and I'd let something slip, and that he'd take people to look for you, my king, and pick a fight with you, which wouldn't have been good. In addition, your injuries weren't causing you serious trouble anymore, so I thought it through from different angles and decided that, for my mission, I had to endure disgrace and follow them back here. from where, if I saw an opportunity, I would... The hand Mobei-jun was using to prop up his temple seemed to have gotten tired, and he switched to the other. They told you to return, and you just followed them back. What else could I have done? Shang Qinghua asked, aggrieved. Refused to submit on pain of death. Show my hand and fight? That wouldn't do. Aside from the fact that I can't defeat them, the important thing is that I still have to be an undercover agent for you, my king. How could I ruin my reputation with Sangtong Mountain now? In the midst of this wildlife burst of enthusiasm, he struck while the iron was hot. A report from my king. I've already become an inner disciple. Doesn't that demonstrate ample drive to succeed? Doesn't that show I have a lot of potential? Kissing up. He was kissing up as hard as he could. However, no matter how much it looked like he was kissing up on the surface, Great Master Airplane shooting towards the skies, inner heart was as placid as spring day. As a spring day. He had always firmly believed, 1. There's gold when a real man kneels. Yes, in that order. Footnote. A corruption of the saying, below a man's knees there is gold, meaning that a man's subordinate... What? Subordination is as rare and valuable as gold. Shang Qinghua's alteration implies profit in subordination. Okay, my guy. 2. A real man doesn't cry for no reason, but if he doesn't cry at times like this, then when will he? These 2 major life principles told him that in times of great need, kissing up a bit wasn't anything remarkable. If you thought about it another way, Mobei-jun was a character Shang Qinghua had created, and as the author, Mobei-jun was like his own son. For a father to concede a bit to his own son, to show a bit of love, that clearly couldn't be called anything strange. What was that saying? Children are the debts parents owe from their previous lives. Footnote. A reference to the superstition that if you are indebted to someone in this life or a prior one, they may be reincarnated as your child to collect on what you owe. Interesting. What the fuck? Ping ping, pang pang. Shang Qinghua suffered another good beating and thereafter hugged his knees. Sorry, so stupid. Crouching in his chair where he adeptly fooled himself into taking this as a Pyrrhic victory. What the hell is that word? Pyrrhic. Oh, we can put this away now. Sorry. We're way past this. What does that mean? After stretching his muscles and joints, Mobei-jun lay back down on the bed, where he sprawled out and turned his back to Shang Qinghua. He spoke in a sleepy voice, neither loud nor soft. We'll continue tomorrow. Shang Qinghua struck silent. Continue? Pyrrhic? Whoa. Interesting. I'll stretch. Whoa, my neck is cracking like crazy. Wow. Okay. Yes. Shang Qinghua was struck silent. Continue? He had the urge to scream and shout, to call down the entirety of Sangtong Mountain to accompany him to his death. Of course, the reason an urge was because it could usually be checked, and because it shouldn't actually be carried out. Not even removing his boots, Mobei-jun lay upon Shang Qinghua's brand new, not once slept on bed. Shang Qinghua's heart was as desolate as a winter wasteland. My king, this is Sangtong Mountain. A highly lethal pillow flew over and struck Shang Qinghua, making him grimace in pain. Shang Qinghua picked up the pillow. He attempted tact. "My king, that is my bed." Mo Beijun stuck up a finger and waved at him, cool and aloof. He said one word. "Mine." Sheesh. Understood. Because Shang Qinghua's whole person belonged to Mo Beijun, his things also belonged to Mo Beijun. Naturally, this included his bed. Did the reverse also stand? At this kind of time, that one saying applied, but with a twist. What's yours is mine. What's mine is also mine. Sorry. It's just that my best friend also says that all the time. Every time they can. Every time. Shang Qinghua rolled off the chair with a huff and silently went to pick up the broken pieces of teacup at his feet. He began to hum a little tune as he did. He began to hum a little tune as he did. What an idiot! I'm sorry. He's so stupid and I love him. You're on the bed and I'm on the ground. I get radish husks and you eat meat by the pond, while tidying his new room. At least a single pillow had been kindly bestowed upon him. Before, he hadn't even had that. Know how to be content. Know how to be content with your situation and you'll always be happy. He cuddled his pillow. It was finally time to retire after a long day of service. And we have one more page. That's a scene break, but we have like one more page left until part 3. And so I think I'll just read until then. Alright, we have one more page left. Let's get into it. We are at the bottom of page 183. I hope you enjoyed your flight. Three days later, Shang Qinghua was as hardworking as a happy little honeybee. Mo Beijun had slept in the leisure house for those 3 days, then disappeared without a word. Only with this had Shang Qinghua fully realized just how unscientifically god-tier the cheat he'd given Mo Beijun was. 3 days. In 3 days, there had been no warning bell, no suspicion, no nothing. Not a single person had found out that a demon had strutted all the way up to live on Anding Peak, and ordered about a future elite logistics disciple in his own beast of a burden. In his own beast of burden? That's a phrase, I think. Like a freed surf singing in joy, Shang Qinghua floated about at full energy for a while, right up until he received his next mission from the old Anding Peak Lord. Anding Peak's missions were invariably day-to-day miscellany, offering only in whether you battled through logistics or struggled on the front lines, but it was inevitably alarming to be in close proximity with dangerous organisms. For example, rushing in to deliver blood replenishing talismans and pills to Baijian Peak when they were in the thick of battle with resentful spirits was a cruel and frightening type of mission, no matter how you looked at it. At least Mo Beijun was a capable protector. Shang Qinghua thought Mo Beijun had already tossed him to the back of his mind, but on several later occasions when he ended up in hot water, he would be fished up in passing by some strange creature that was clearly demonic in appearance, and he was thusly able to remain intact. This really counted as, stick close to me and I'll protect you, didn't it? Shang Qinghua couldn't help but conclude that clinging to thighs and whatever was both quite useful and quite necessary. If it weren't, he never would have survived this far. And that is the end of part 2. And that, I just think that I really love Moe Jun and the way that he's I just cause Shang Qinghua thinks that he devoted his life to Moe Jun, but Moe Jun has devoted his life to Shang Qinghua. I just it's mutual, but he doesn't understand. They don't get it. It's beautiful. I would like to cling to thighs all my life as well. That would be nice. Oh man, that's where we're ending today. We will pick up next time on page 185 for part 3 of the airplane extras. Extras, not chapters. What is the next part? Is this the one? Oh my god. He's such a weirdo. He's such a weirdo. Wait, I'm looking at that. Wait, no, this next part is good. This next part is really fun. Oh man, it's so great. Anyway, that's all we're doing for today. I will leave you here to stew in your own thoughts and despairs. I'm kidding. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope there's no despair in your day. Let me put this down. I don't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore. Woohoo! Woohoo! Okay. Again! It's like a ritual now. I guess I gotta do it every time. There's another error. It's been redeemed. This is just how it is now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Ara. Okay, next. Moving on. We're forgetting that happened. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I hope you had a wonderful time. I am going to see if I can raid anybody. Not my site. Let me see. What? Following. Let me see. Whenever I see that Shindex is streaming, it just gives me a little chuckle because he's always doing something. Anyway, oh my god. I'm fine. We're fine. Let's raid Luzora. Is it Luzora or Izora? Uzor. I think it's Luzora. Anyway, they're sibling. Rig siblings. But yeah, let's do that. I'll see you later. Okay? Be nice and be kind. And I'm gonna start right now, but like, wait, actually. Are you just ending? I think they're just ending. I think they're leaving. God damn it. Okay, let's someone else. It's fine. Let's raid Moyo, okay? Let's go. I'll see you later. Okay. Let's go. Oh my god. Have a good rest of your day. I hope be safe and smart and mask up during the holidays, especially because you're gonna get sick. Don't get sick, okay? Bye.